Hey there, thank you so much for requesting this workout on kettlebell exercises for arms and overhead. The kettlebell is a really unique tool in that a lot of the kettlebell specific exercises take weight overhead, and your average strength program might not have you going overhead that much. So for that reason, we're gonna really ease into it today. We're gonna cover things like the quarter get up and an overhead hold, and then work our way up to pressing the kettlebell overhead. Now, before we get going, I just wanna check in and say, if any of these exercises are new to you and you're confused by them or can't tell if you're doing them properly, that is totally normal. You're new to kettlebells and you don't know what you don't know. And quite frankly, I don't know how anybody would expect you to. And today you're gonna learn a little bit, but learning just from a follow along video is not my favorite way to teach kettlebells. My favorite way to teach kettlebells is with a one-on-one coaching aspect. And I do that through my small group program called She Beast Bells and Bodyweight. So if you wanna learn more about how to get that one-on-one attention at a much lower price than personal training, check out the links in the description below. You can read all about the program, including the price, the dates it starts, and the length of the workouts. And you can just book a call with me directly if you want to learn more and be able to chat and tell me about where you're at so I can tell you if the program's right for you. But without further ado, I want you to go ahead and grab a kettlebell that you can press overhead and meet me on your mat for this workout. If you don't have a kettlebell, you can do it with a dumbbell, but it's not going to start building that foundation for more kettlebell work in the future. So if you have the kettlebell, go ahead and grab it. For today's follow-along kettlebell workout, we're going to be doing all upper body, so we are going to mobilize and warm up those shoulders. I want you to start with your palms facing up. We're going to do small circles, moving the arms backwards, meaning thumbs are moving back behind me. Getting bigger every few circles until you have really big arm circles. It's going to make your face make some funny faces. Good. Now palms face down. And we're going to do small circles forward, so thumbs lead forward. And they start small, and they get bigger, and they get bigger. These are mobilizing the arms, taking the shoulder through its full range of motion. And they're honestly a little tiring on their own. Next, we're going to grab a really lightweight kettlebell, something that you can easily press overhead, and we're going to do overhead holds. We're going to pick that light kettlebell up, and you're going to do this with me. You should have done the arm circles with me, and I should have told you that, but here we are. So you're gonna get that kettlebell into a front rack hold. Apex of the knuckles towards the ceiling, nice straight wrist. We're gonna press the bell overhead, and it's gonna sit on the back side of my wrist. I'm gonna pull my ribs down by taking a sharp exhale. Think of pulling the shoulder away from the ear, and I'm just gonna stand here for 20 seconds, and so are you. So focus on a few things. Keeping the elbow straight. Not letting the arm shrug up out of the socket, keeping your ribs down, keeping your tailbone tucked, and keeping grounded on the floor. And pull the bell down. We'll do the other side. Now you really have to check yourself. Bell up. We want to make sure that wrist is straight, elbow straight, shoulders away from the ears, ribs are down, core is on, tailbone down, other arm juts out away. This is a powerful pose. We're getting ready to do heavy stuff. Keep holding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, come down. Good. We're gonna do one more set of those overhead holds on each side. Pick the bell up again in the first arm that you started with. Remember, nice straight wrist. Kettlebell goes up. You don't want that kettlebell to be hanging out behind you. We want the knuckles towards the ceiling. Want the ribs down, tailbone down. We really want the ribs stacked above the pelvis, meaning ribs above the hips. Feet are right underneath you the way they'd be if you were standing. Straight elbow. Keep holding. We have 10 more seconds. I think this might be a 30-second hold. This is what happens when I don't run the timer. 3, 2, 1, come down. Good job. Second side. And give yourself a second. I'm losing the feeling in my shoulder, so I know you are too. That one can really get your arm really tired. It can fall asleep because you're not used to holding weight overhead like that. Super normal. I'm gonna pick up the other side now. Adjust it so it's in a comfortable spot in the back of the wrist. Inhale, exhale, send that bell up. And we're gonna checkpoint everything. Back of the wrist is long, elbow is straight, shoulder is in its socket, ribs are down, hips are under the ribs, feet are gripping the ground, meaning you're not just kind of like hanging out, maybe your toes are up, maybe your heels are a little up. We want that foot flat and strong. Keep holding. 3, 2, 1, come down. Great work. So what we were doing there is getting the arm used to going overhead. We brought it through its full range of motion. And now we're gonna move on to the quarter get-up in kettlebell halos. Now the quarter get-up is a fundamental kettlebell move because it starts to get you into that full Turkish get-up, and it's actually the hardest part. And the kettlebell halo is a great shoulder mobilization drill. So we're gonna start with the halo because the camera's already up and you've gotta see the upper part of the head for this. And then we'll come down to the floor. So you had to see the floor, we had to bring the camera down. So you're gonna face your palms away from you and start like you're gonna do a kettlebell swing, but we're gonna have those palms away from you, you hike the bell and you flip it up. Now, bottom of the bell is up and the palms are facing you. My elbows are down by my sides. This is your parking space with each rep. Now what you're going to do is halo the bell around the head, meaning bringing it all the way around and then back to the front. Now, each time I go around, I'm trying to keep my arms from contacting my head and more importantly, keep the kettlebell from contacting my head while keeping the body from moving. You want to pick a nice lightweight kettlebell for this. There's no honor in going heavy here. Lighter lets you get a better range of motion. So you can see from the front, one arm helps push it while the other helps pull it. And I really hope you can hear me because of the location of my mic. But you can go all in one direction or you can alternate with each rep. We want to do 5 per side. So now let's do this together. You're going to start like you're going to clean the bell. The palms are away from you. Hike the bell up. Get your feet underneath you, brace the core. Keep those ribs down. Don't let the body shuck and jive underneath you as you halo the bell. And now we're gonna go 5 times towards the right. So kettlebell goes towards our right side and parks 5 times. Now, if you are messing up your hair, you're doing it correctly because it means you're getting around your head. That kettlebell wants to go down by the shoulder below the ear, down by my ponytail, down by my other shoulder, and back in front of me. And you can pause at each point as you go around. It doesn't need to be one fluid motion. You can take your time in each place. And now switch to the other side. 5 times. Here I'm taking that more incremental approach. And here is what one smoother action looks like. But regardless, I'm not doing the hula hoop underneath it. I'm keeping everything tight and relax. Now we're gonna pop down, grab your lightest bell, or you can omit a bell altogether as we learn the quarter get-up. For the quarter get-up, we start lying on our side in fetal position. So my back is to you right now and I'm on my left-hand side. I'm gonna have my kettlebell in my left hand and then I roll onto my back. Now I'm gonna show you what that looks like on this side, but we're going to go back to the first side for the rest of the demo. So what it looks like is I'm in the fetal position, my hand that the bell's gonna sit in holds onto it while it's on the floor, and then I roll off of the ground, right? So now I'm ready, I have the bell in my hand. I'm gonna go back to that first side because it's better for the visual for demonstrating the rest. So we're on our back. My elbow is 45 degrees away from my body with the kettlebell. And now we're gonna worry about the other side. So I'm gonna put my hand on my hip. From there, keep your elbow pinned down and extend the arm out. Now your leg wants to match that angle or come out further, but at least match that angle. So both the arm and the leg are out at a 45-degree angle. Toes are pointed up, not away. And then I'm gonna push my bent leg, foot into the ground. From here, press the kettlebell up. And you're gonna, if you're holding the kettlebell, make sure you have a straight wrist. But regardless, pull your arm into the socket. You don't want it to move. Now from here, we're gonna roll up into, think of a side plank. away from that kettlebell. So I'm coming to my elbow, pressing my chest forward with my shoulder underneath my elbow here, between my elbow underneath my shoulder, and my wrist over my shoulder with the kettlebell. And then I'm gonna roll back down. And you're driving the bent foot into the floor to come up and down. So we're gonna do this together with or without weight 5 times per side. So starting lying on your side in the fetal position on the left-hand side, the kettlebell's in your left hand. You're gonna roll onto your back. You press the bell up overhead. Opposite arm and leg extend out at 45 degrees. Remember, hand starts on the hip and then straighten the hand, keep the elbow in place. And now I'm going to press the lower back into the floor and roll towards my right. Press the arm up and roll back down. Now, if your right leg flies up, flex the toes towards the face and think of pinning the outer edge of that leg down 5 times. 2, 3, and now when you come up, don't just hang out with that shoulder by your ear. Press into the grounded elbow. And 5. Now you'll see what it looks like from the other side. And to get the kettlebell from one side to the other, grab onto both handles and halo the kettlebell around you. Now I'm using a 5-pound kettlebell here. That might be the appropriate weight for you. Heavier might be appropriate, or lighter. If it's lighter, I would suggest just making a fist and doing that. I would normally use a 12-kilogram bell, but we're doing a lot of demos today, so I'm going light. Now, left arm and leg are out at a 45-degree angle. I find that by putting my left hand on my hip, keeping the elbow grounded and straightening it out, and then rolling up and pressing into that elbow of the arm that's below us and reach up with the top arm. You want that arm to go straight up. Now, if you don't have anything in it, you might notice it kind of falls forward. And if you were loaded and it were to fall forward, that would happen, and we don't like that. So keep that arm going straight up. 5 per side. You probably have a couple more. Great. Now we're gonna go back to those halos. We're gonna do 2 sets. Don't mind me, I'm dropping down to the lighter bell because, again, lots of volume happening today on my end. We flip that bell up so the bottom of the bell is facing up. And now we're gonna go 5 times in each direction. So bring the kettlebell down by the shoulder, behind the head, and to the other side, back to the front. Keep those ribs down and your core engaged. You're not ducking the bell. Now I have on makeup and I don't want to ruin my hair, so I'm trying to avoid my head and my face. Even if you don't have on makeup and your hair done, that's a good principle. Think of actually creating a halo around your head. The halo, if you think of an angel, it floats above the angel's head. Same idea here. Now 5 times in the other direction. One arm pushes the bell, the other arm pulls the bell. They're both guiding it, and they're guiding it differently depending on the moment of the exercise. Last one. Put the bell down. We're going back to the floor for our quarter get-ups. Bring that kettlebell to your left side. We're gonna start in the fetal position on the left side, roll to our backs, reach the bell up, hand goes on the hip. From here, keep your elbow where it started and flatten the hand out. Now extend your leg at 45 degrees to match it and tuck the bent left leg up towards your butt. From here, we're gonna roll into the side plank and come up. But first, pull your arm into the shoulder socket. Think of closing your armpit, hiding those sweat stains even with your arm extended. If I told you to hide your sweat stains with your arm up, what would you do? That's what I want you to do right now. From here, flex the toes towards your face and come up. Now, if you're like, Emma, you nutter, I can't do this. I don't know how you'd think I could. I feel you. This is a bit of an advanced one, and it improves drastically with one-on-one attention. So if that's you, the She Beast program would be a good fit for you. And reach out to me about it if you want. Look at the information linked here, or you can just DM me on Instagram. You should know my handle, Emma Benoli, because that's probably how you got this video. But we're gonna go to the other side again. Just, gonna give you my pitch there that it is worthwhile getting eyes on you if you wanna learn these exercises correctly, because it's hard to teach it in just a quick follow along video here. You really want feedback. We're gonna roll up with the right side now. So the bell's in the right hand, we press it overhead, arm and leg extend out at a 45-degree angle, pull the right leg up towards your butt, and now we're gonna roll towards the left, pressing through that right leg to come up. Now, the wider the legs, the more room you have to move. But if your arm is up too far, if it's not out at a 45-degree angle, if it's up by the shoulder, you're not actually going to get very far, and you're gonna find it gives you a lot of shoulder tension. So we're going 5 times, 2 more. Nice work. And relax. Bring that bell down and back to fetal position each time. Even if you have a light bell or no bell, it's always good to practice good form no matter what. Now we're gonna come up and do standing presses as well as kneeling bicep curls, because I wanna take you through some great arm exercises that hit triceps and biceps. Now the overhead press, that hits tricep, that's the outside of the arm, and the bicep curl, well, that obviously hits the bicep, and that's the front side of the arm here that faces forward. So grab those 2 lighter bells that you can use for overhead pressing and bicep curls, and we'll get going. The grip on the overhead press is the same principle as the grip in the Turkish get-up or a floor press, where we want a nice straight wrist. So you're gonna pick that bell up, and once it's up there, make sure your wrist isn't bending backwards, because we don't wanna lead with the inside of the wrist, we wanna lead with the apex of the knuckles, meaning the top point of the knuckles. So if I make my knuckles flat at the top, I don't really have that straight wrist I'm looking for in kettlebells. I wanna turn to the point where my knuckles, the top of my knuckles here, where can you see them? I think there, that gives you some contrast. The top of the knuckles faces up, not the flat part of the end of the finger. So this is what we're going for here. Now, this is your parking spot in an overhead press. Just watch here. Elbow is down by my waist, knuckles are up. I'm coming back to this position each time. So we're coming to the top of that overhead hold position and then back down. Now, your non-working arm can be out by your side, or it can pump alongside you, so it can be bent up, and they are twins before I move the weight. And then when the weight goes up, the other arm presses out, and you can kind of think of it like a lever moving the weight for you. So I want you to grab that kettlebell. I'm gonna downgrade again because lots of reps today. Please don't judge. I know people will, but I've got to protect my body so I can do this for a long time. I cannot lift heavy weight all day, every day. And we're gonna pick up that bell, start on the right side, start with the stronger side so you get a sense of what it should feel like. Get your feet underneath your hips. You don't want them really wide here. We wanna feel like we're supported. Other arm comes out by the side. Apex of the knuckles towards the ceiling. Sharp exhale. Squeeze the butt, press the feet into the floor. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale as the weight goes up. Now think of making a J shape as it comes back down to your waist. We're going for 8 to 10 reps if you have it. So I park it down by my chest when I come down, and it lands right over my shoulder. 4, 5. Now, if you find that you have this big lean away from the kettlebell to get it up, it's probably on the heavier side for you. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but if you find that you're kind of leaning to the side to get out of the way, then we want to lower the weight. 2 more. Good. Bring it down to the floor. We'll switch to the other hand. Come up into that front rack position. Knuckles towards the ceiling, apex of the knuckles towards the ceiling, elbow to the waist. This is my starting position. Sharp exhale. Squeeze the butt. Press the feet into the floor. This is a grind. We're really bracing ourselves between the floor and the kettlebell. You want to be so aware of what's happening between the floor and the kettlebell. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale at the top. Come down with control. Don't let gravity pull the weight down. We're going for 8 to 10 reps, or 5 to 10 reps really, whatever you got. If you have way more than 10, you've gone too light. 6, 7, 8, inhale as it comes down, exhale as it goes up. Good work. Now we're gonna come down to a tall kneeling position and do the tall kneeling bicep curl. If you have sensitive knees, grab something to kneel on like a pillow or a mat, or even fold up your yoga mat a couple times. We're first gonna learn how to position our body. So come down here with me. You can have your toes tucked or untucked. Tucked's probably gonna give you more balance, especially if you're on a pillow. But notice, I got a little booty pop here, a little rib flare. Sharp exhale. Tuck the pelvis under, ribs towards the hips. This is now on, and the weight is not going to take me for a ride. Now I want you to pick up the weight, and you can do it bottoms up or bottoms down. They're slightly different experiences. Either way, we're gonna lock the elbows down towards the hips, and you can do this with me, elbows down towards the waist rather. Brace the core and think of fully extending the elbows and then bringing them back up. Now, if the bottom of the kettlebell is facing down and it's a larger bell, you might hit yourself in the pubic bone. So that's kind of the downside of this variation, but it is generally easier. So just cut that range of motion a little short. Now, keep going, we're going for 10 to 12. If the bottom of the kettlebell is up, you have a bigger range of motion, but it probably feels a little more challenging. 9, 10 to 12, and then put it down. Now we're gonna stand back up and do the overhead press. This is a bicep, tricep, superset. Overhead pressing is that tricep. Grab your kettlebell in the right hand, apex of the knuckles towards the ceiling, elbow towards the waist, non-working arm out by your side. 5 to 10, or as many as you have that are pretty, meaning you have good form. We're gonna go. Inhale at the bottom, exhale at the top. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down through the nose, exhale out through pursed lips. 8, 9, 10. Good. Second side, switch arms. Pick that bell up, elbow down by the waist, knuckles towards the ceiling, opposite arm out by your side. Inhale at the bottom, brace the core, exhale, press up. And remember, the kettlebell is resisting gravity on the way down. You don't want it to take you on a ride and fall. There's an exercise where we do that. This isn't it. 3 more if you're going to 10. Great work. Put that bell down. We're gonna come back down to the tall kneeling position with our pillow or mat for the knees. Come to that tall kneeling position. Sharp exhale. Tuck the pelvis, elbows by the side. I do prefer bottoms up on the kettlebell because I feel like I hit my pelvis too much. Extend the arms. We're going for 10 to 12 reps. Especially if you could press this weight overhead with one arm, you can probably curl it with 2 arms. Elbows are pinned to your sides. Now I'm going to turn so you can see what that side view looks like. I don't want my elbows out here. I don't want my elbows in front of me. They're down by my sides. 9, 10. Put the weight down, and we have one more time standing up for our overhead presses. So get that kettlebell into the front rack. Opposite arm shoots out beside you, feet right underneath the hips. Sharp exhale. Squeeze the glutes. We want the whole body on and aware of itself as we press the bell up. We feel ourselves between the bell and the floor. Bring it back down. As many as pretty, up to 10. 8, 9, 10. Bring that bell down. We're going to switch arms. 10 on the other side. Knuckles towards the ceiling. Core is on. I'm going to give you the side view this time. Squeeze the butt. We don't want cute butts in the overhead press. Inhale, exhale up. See that not cute butt? That's what we want here. This is not about looking good. This is about using every bit of energy in your body to press that bell up. And if you don't need a lot of energy to get the bell up, the way honestly I don't right now because this is my demonstration bell, you're not going quite heavy enough, especially in this, 5 to 10 rep count. 3 more if you're going to 10. And relax. Come down for one more set of those tall kneeling bicep curls. Flip the bell up so the bottom is facing up if that's how you're doing it. Big exhale. Tuck the tailbone. Core is on. Elbows are by the side. Extend the arms. Now, we want to avoid the elbows too far behind, then you can't really move very far. And of course, if the elbows are out in front of you, that's a whole other challenge. If we support them on the trunk, we're able to really isolate the bicep and the shoulder doesn't have to do any work. 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. Great work, y'all. This was an awesome kettlebell and body weight upper body workout. It gives you a nice taste of some of the kettlebell specific exercises that aren't things like the swing and the clean. They're things that use your strength and not your power in order to move the kettlebell, but they do require a lot of skills and feedback is really helpful. So if that's something you're interested in, click one of the links below, DM me on Instagram, learn more about SheBeast. You can sign up on your own or you can book a call to learn more. And I hope you had a great workout. Thanks for joining me.